Before starting the video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and I also did make a new Discord server. The link is down below if you want to come check it out. This is a new Discord, so if you want to help shape a great community, come by and check it out. Now with that out of the way, let's get into this video. What's going on YouTube? This is Devin coming back at you with another video today on PubStomp MTG. Glad to have you here. Today we're going to be looking at this mono white commander, Myrel, Shield of Argive. And this does beg the question, is this the best mono white stacks commander in cEDH? This does have that Grand Abolisher ability. During your turn, your opponents can't cast spells or activate abilities of artifact, creatures, or enchantments. And it does have a way to beat down your opponents whenever Myrel, Shield of Argive attacks. Create X 1/1 colorless soldier and artifact creature tokens, where X is the number of soldiers you control. So what I find most interesting about this commander is you're allowed to play your stacks pieces on your turn without any disruption because of your commander. And this is why I consider this to be one of the strongest mono white commanders that are in stacks in cEDH. You won't have to worry about your stuff getting countered, and you won't have to worry about people trying to destroy your stuff on your turn. So let's look at some card draw options for our commander, because we do actually have a lot of really great card draw options in our deck. I know people kept on crapping on mono white with how much card draw they don't have, but honestly they've been stepping it up, and I feel like mono white is fine with card draw. We don't need to get any more card draw than what we have. So some of the first card draw options I will mention are pretty obvious. Archivist of Ogma and Esper Sentinel. These are really great stacks pieces for our board so that we can get some card draw. People are going to be searching their library, especially in cEDH, so much because of either fetch lands, tutoring for lands, or tutoring for whatever they need to win off the game. And there's not much to say about Esper Sentinel because it's obviously a powerhouse of card draw. I've seen this card draw so many cards during my games, so I feel like this is a great include in the deck, and obviously a must include. Obviously, we do also have Mangara the Diplomat. This is great because whenever an opponent casts their second spell each turn, draw a card, so that's pretty simple, straightforward. You're just drawing cards off of him, so I think this is another good fit as well. So because we are making a lot of tokens with our commander, I feel like Mentor of the Meek and Welcoming Vampire are absolute includes in here as well, because we're going to be making a lot of 1/1 soldiers, especially with Mentor of the Meek. If we have a lot of mana lying around, we could obviously pay that cost for all those soldiers and then get a lot of card draw that way. So we definitely have a lot of card draw in this deck. So let's go over some rule of law effects. So there's obviously the rule of law right there, where each player can't cast more than one spell each turn. Because the meta is basically stacks versus storm, this is a perfect card against storm decks and underworld breach decks as well. I would definitely say the better option would be Archon of Emeria as well, because that's flying and each player can't cast more than one spell each turn, and non-basic lands your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped, so everyone's fetch lands or everyone's dual lands, the options are endless with this one. Similar to the other cards mentioned, Deafening Silence is a great include as well, because each player can't cast more than one non-creature spell each turn. It has a little bit of a limitation compared to that, but most of the cards we want to be counteracting in cEDH are going to be non-creature spells. Also because a lot of people want to be drawing a lot of cards in cEDH as well, especially with their Rhystic Studies and Mystic Remoras. Spirit of the Labyrinth is absolutely perfect in this deck because each player can't draw more than one card each turn. So I do want to reiterate, a lot of these points for rule of law effects are to stop our opponents from doing stuff like Underworld Breach or a lot of different layered combos. So let's go over some other stacks pieces to add into the list. We have Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, which is perfect in the deck because non-creature spells cost one more to cast, so that their ad nauseam will cost 6 instead of 5. It does affect us a little bit, but it will be affecting a lot of storm players more than it will affect us, because we want to be actually beating people in the face with our creatures. Also, Drannith Magistrate is really great in the deck as well, because a lot of people do rely on their commanders on having combos, so this is a perfect fit because your opponents can't cast spells from anywhere other than their hand. Obviously, it'll really hurt Cascade decks as well, so this is a good include in there as well. So the big thing about cEDH is everyone likes to tutor, so I thought of having Aven Mind Sensor and Leonin Arbiter as well. These are great for punishing our opponents for tutoring, especially if they have to tutor for lands because of fetch lands, because instead of looking for land, they have to look at their top 4 of their cards and have to find a land that fits that fetch land's colors. I've had my fair share against playing against Aven Mind Sensor, and it is no joke when coming to fetch lands. I was stuck with no lands because Aven Mind Sensor was out there, and I was always risking it to fetch up a land, but then didn't get anything, so I lost 1 life for absolutely nothing. So these are great cards on the list. Also, another part of stacks is we want to make sure we stop our opponents from comboing off, so silence effects are really great in here. We obviously have, well, silence, where your opponents can't cast spells this turn. Also, Orum's Chant is the same exact exact thing. Target player can't cast spells this turn, and if you pay the picker cost, creatures can't attack this turn as well. So obviously if someone's trying to play a Thassa's Oracle, you could easily just silence, and obviously they have to use their counter spell, but it's just an added bonus of trying to like stack people out, so then they can't play their Demonic Consultation that turn as well. But obviously there's a huge amount of different scenarios that will happen there, but that's kind of some things that I've noticed is I played silence when somebody plays a Thassa's Oracle on the stack, and it usually works pretty well. Because we are running a lot of stacks cards, it's harder for people to counter our silence effects. But if we really want to make sure our opponent doesn't win, Angel's Grace is definitely included in here because it does have split second as long as a spell is in the stack. Players can't cast spells or activate abilities that aren't mana abilities, and obviously it has that you can't lose the game this turn and your opponents can't win the game this turn. This is definitely probably one of the best ways to counter a Thassa's Oracle because obviously your opponents can't win the game off of the Thassa's Oracle. So now that we have our stacks game plan down, we want to make sure we're winning. So our commander has that second option of making soldier tokens. So let's abuse that and go wide. So we're going to go with a little bit of a soldier theme and token theme as well. So Defiler of Faith and Keeper of the Court will definitely get that job done because we have a lot of permanent spells that we'll pay for, and because of Defiler of Faith's second ability, whenever you cast a white permanent spell, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. Plus Defiler of Faith does have that cost reduction, so I think this is a good fit in here because we want to make sure that our spells cost less as far as their white permanents. And I did want to mention Keeper of the Court. It's more of a pet card of mine. It's definitely probably not cEDH viable, but I do like this card because it does act as a good sax effect, benefiting us. It's not really benefiting our opponents, so I feel like getting us ramp as well as getting us creature will get us there to overwhelm our opponents. So because we are going wide, we might as well buff them up even more by having a game ender like Elesh Norn Grand Shinobi, giving our soldiers that +2/+2 boost so that we can carry out the win. Another way to win I feel like would be really great in here is actually including Halo Fountain, because we're making so many tokens, we could get some great card draw, and if we do have 15 tapped creatures, we could win the game on the spot by tapping Halo Fountain. But if that wasn't enough, we do have another combo in this deck so that we could close out the game. This is a pretty popular combo in mono white. I feel like because of our commander, we definitely have a way to win on our turn because we don't have to worry about our commander or other spells being countered or getting destroyed by instant spells. So I thought to add the classic combo of Heliod, Suncrowned, and Walking Ballista. Also, you could use Triskelion if you want to have some extra efficiency as well. So the combo is pretty simple. You want to have Heliod on the battlefield, and you want to make sure that Walking Ballista has 2 or more power. So you give Walking Ballista lifelink because of Heliod, and then you remove a 1/1 counter from it and then deal 1 damage to any target to our opponents, and then it'll gain life, and then Heliod will trigger, putting a 1/1 counter on Walking Ballista because we gained life. So this will ping everybody down to win the game without disruption from our opponents because of our commander. So that's why I feel like this commander, Myrel, Shield of Argive, is absolutely a great mono white commander for stacks. Most of your combos will be on your turn, so having that ability on your commander where during your turn your opponents can't cast spells or activate abilities or artifact creatures or enchantments is absolutely huge because you could easily combo off and without any disruption. I know I'm going to re-emphasize that, but that's very important. And it does have that token generation as well, which could be very utilized to win the game right there with some of our cards like Halo Fountain or Elesh Norn. But let me know down below, what do you think of this sweet mono white commander? And with that out of the way, thank you for stomping by.